Hello viewers, dear students, I Bhatt Rafi, lecturer in zoology subject. Today I am going to deliver video lecture to my 11th class students. You can subscribe if you like the video. And my YouTube channel is Bhatt Rafi's Lectures. Today's my topic is characteristics of living organisms. So let us begin this topic in a precise manner. The characteristics which distinguish living, the characteristics which distinguish living things from non-living things is as follows. Topic is the characteristics of living organisms. The characteristics which distinguish living from the non-living are as follows. First is the growth, and second is the reproduction. Third characteristics of living which distinguish from non-living is the metabolism. And fourth point is the movement. And fifth is the organization. Sixth is the lifespan. Eighth is the variation. And other is the healing and repair, disposal of waste, energy, and last point is the death. We will describe one by one the characteristics of the living things which distinguish from the non-living things. First is the growth. You know that living and non-living things, if we distinguish living and non-living things can grow, non-living things cannot grow. Living things can move, non-living things cannot move. Living things respire by the process of respiration, non-living things cannot respire. Living things reproduce by the process of reproduction, and non-living things cannot reproduce. And living things are made up of cells, and non-living things are not made up of cells. First point is the growth. Characteristics of the living organisms is the first point is the growth. You know that growth is irreversible. Growth is irreversible. Increase size, weight, volume of an organism. In a growth, it is increase in number of mass of cells by cell division. All living organisms have a capacity to grow. Growth of an individual organism has two characteristics. First is increase in body mass. And second point is the increase in number. You know that in plants have the limited growth. Plants have the unlimited growth. Plants grow throughout the life. Animals have the limited growth. Plants grow in a limited period. And just as plants have the limited movement, animal have the unlimited movement. Plant move from one place to another place. Animal cannot move from one place to another place. So, in plants, growth is continuously throughout their lifespan. In animals, growth is only after a certain age. However, cell division occurs to replace lost cells. And you know that unicellular organism are those that's organisms which are made up of only one cell. Amoeba, paramecium, euglena, they are the unicellular organism. You know that unicellular organisms also grow by cell division. Non-living objects grow by accumulation of materials, increase in mass on the surface. That is the reproduction. Another point is the reproduction. You know that all the living things reproduce by the process of reproduction. In a reproduction, second point is the reproduction. You know that reproduction is the process in living organisms. Reproduction means the formation of new individual from their parent. New individual from their parent. Or we define it, reproduction is the ability of organism. It is the ability of organism by which they produce offspring of their own kind. They produce offspring of their own kind. It is the process of continuation of race, or the process by which living organism produce young ones of their own kind. That is the reproduction. That is the reproduction. And there is the cellular organization. Cellular organization. Cellular organization. You know that all the living things are made up of cells. All living organisms are made up of cells. Cells perform all the functions in the organism. Non-living organisms do not have cellular organization. Therefore, it can be seen that a cellular organization gives rise to the function of life, like the metabolism, growth, reproduction, etc. The cellular organization is a defining characteristic of the living organism. Another point is the consciousness. Another characteristic of the living organism which differ from non-living organism is the consciousness. It is the awareness of one's environment. It is the awareness of one's environment, actions and intentions. It is present in living organism. You know that human beings sense the environment through sense organs. We have the sense organs. Plants respond to external factors like light, temperature, interior water, pollution, other organisms, etc. In both plant and animal, photo period, duration of light affects the reproduction on the seasonal breathers. Therefore, all the organisms are aware of their surroundings. So it affects the reproduction in the seasonal breathers. Therefore, all organisms are aware of their surroundings. So it is the defining property of living organisms. It is the defining property of the living organisms. So, having cell consciousness, that is aware, that is the aware of himself. Therefore consciousness is the defining property of living organism. All living organisms are linked to one another by sharing a common genetic material to varying degrees. It was. Another point is the metabolism. Metabolism. You know that metabolism, variety of biochemical changes are constantly occurring in a living organism, leading to the formation and interconversion of chemicals. And all the chemicals, reactions take place in the living body, comes under the metabolism. Non-living things do not show the metabolism. All living things show the metabolism. And another point is the organization. You know that in our body there is the organization, there is the proper organization. You know that if we make a sketch, cell, all the living things, I already told you, all living things are made up of cells. In a group of cells which perform a defined function is called tissue. And a group of tissue is called organ. And a group of organs is called organ system. And group of organ systems is the organism. And group of organisms, we call it the population. And group of population is called the ecosystem. And group of ecosystem is the biosphere. These are the levels of organization. Cell, tissue, organ system, these are the lower level of organization. These are the population, ecosystem, biosphere, they are the lower organization. They are the higher organization. Lower organization and higher organization. You know that organization, we have the organization system in our body. All the organs work in a coordination manner. All living beings has an organization. That is, living beings consist of several components and subcomponents which cooperate with one another for the well-beings of whole organism. A living beings has multiple levels of organization. And each level of organization has its own property, which are not found in its constants. You know that the cellular organelle develops a property not found in its interacting molecular components. A living cell has its own characteristics not found in its organelles. A tissue is able to have a trait not found in its constant cells. And another point is the variation. You know that variation, living beings possesses variation. And a living being possesses variation. And a living being possesses variation and have ability to evolve with time. That is the variation. Healing and repair. When we cut any parts, we get healed. And a living things can repair and heal the broken and injured parts. And another point is the lifespan. We have the fixed lifespan. Every organism, every living organism has a definite lifespan of birth, growth, and maturity, sickness and death. And that is the movement. We move from place to place. Animal have the limited movement, plant has the limited movement, animal has the unlimited movement. And this is the movement. Living beings show movements of their parts. And some are able to move from one place to another place. This phenomenon is called the locomotion. And locomotion is the displacement of organism from one place to another place. We animals, we locomote we move freely from one place to another place. And there is a disposal of wastes. You all know that we have a process of excretion. Waste product removed from the body is called excretion. And a waste generated by living beings are regularly disposed of. And another is the energy. We get energy from the food. Living beings constantly require energy, not only to perform various activities of the body, but also to overcome entropy or tendency to randomness. This source of energy is food. And it requires every cell of the body. And last point is the death. Death is inevitable. You all know that all living beings on this earth take birth, live, and ultimately perish. That is called the death. You know, and non-living things cannot die. You know that death, the stoppage of various life activities by an individual organism, accompanied by increase in entropy, is called the death. Death occurs due to aging, due to disease, due to accident, or predation. Predation is the food relationship in which the free living or strong organism takes the weaker organism, or the parasite, one organism takes food from other organism. Aging normally occurs in all organisms and after a period of reproductive maturity. It is however absent in some cases where the organism multiply by binary fission. For example, amoeba, bacteria. A fully grown amoeba for a bacteria or a bacterium divide into two daughters. In the process, it loses its independent existence. Here, natural death is absent, and the organism is immortal. In a living organism, or therefore self-replicating evolving organism, self-regulatory interactive system capable of responding to the external stimuli, sharing a common genetic material to varying degrees both horizontally and vertically. And this was an important point I left, the adaptation. Now we get adopt. We have the process, we have the capacity of adaptation, self-adjustment. Adaptation, adapt means adjust. Useful inheritable variations or changes in form, function, and behavior which help in an organism to adjust well and successful in its environment are called the adaptation. An organism is considered best adapted to an environment when it possesses inheritable traits that enhances its survival and ability to reproduce in that environment. Adaptation allows the organisms to overcome seasonal and other changes in the environment. There are two types of adaptation. In a short-term adaptation is a hibernation in most amphibians and reptiles, and some mammals long-term adaptation. For example, clays of different birds are well adapted to suit their breeding habitats. These are the adaptation. So, dear students, we complete this topic, characteristics of the living organisms. Thank you all. Thank you all.